A historic shift in the West, momentum builds for Palestinian recognition. Following France's lead, the United Kingdom, Canada, Portugal, and Australia are preparing to formally recognize the State of Palestine at the United Nations this September. This growing diplomatic wave is amplifying international pressure on Israel while rekindling hopes for a two-state solution and a resolution to the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Israel has responded with sharp opposition, yet analysts interpret the move as a significant turning point in Western policy toward Palestine. Still, some observers caution that questions remain over the true sovereignty and viability of a future Palestinian state. Tsunami fears grip Pacific Rim after massive 8.8 earthquake. A powerful 8.8 magnitude earthquake off Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula has triggered tsunami warnings across 17 Pacific Rim countries. Coastal regions in the US, Japan, China, and Russia were placed on high alert, with evacuations and emergency precautions swiftly enacted. While no casualties have been reported, the tremor has revived painful memories of past disasters among local communities. Serbia erupts, growing pressure on government for political reform. Mass protests led by students and activists have swept across Serbia, with demonstrators calling for early elections and sweeping political reforms. In the capital Belgrade, major roads were blocked, bringing city life to a standstill. Security forces have come under fire for their response, as international human rights organizations urge respect for free expression and restraint from the use of force. US-India trade tensions escalate, new tariffs send shockwaves through economy. The United States has announced a 25% tariff on Indian imports starting August 1, citing concerns over India's trade policies and its close ties with Moscow. The move triggered immediate turmoil in Indian stock markets, prompting the government to scramble for emergency measures aimed at minimizing the economic fallout. Malaysia on edge, cost of living crisis sparks protests and calls for resignation. At the end of July, widespread protests erupted across Malaysian cities as citizens took to the streets in anger over soaring living costs. The dramatic rise in prices of basic necessities has led to growing public demands for the Prime Minister's resignation. Analysts warn that the deepening economic strain may soon threaten the country's political stability. Sudan's political rift deepens, paramilitary coalition forms rival government. A coalition backed by the Rapid Support Forces has declared a parallel interim government in the city of Nyala, naming Al-Taishi as prime minister and pledging full governance in areas outside central control. The Khartoum-based government denounced the move as a secession attempt and urged the international community not to recognize it. Analysts warn the crisis could spiral into ethnic and tribal conflict, further threatening Sudan's fragile unity. Islamophobia surges across Europe, anti-Muslim attacks in Germany up 60%. In 2024, Germany and several other European nations witnessed a sharp rise in anti-Muslim attacks and discriminatory incidents, with Germany alone reporting a 60% increase over the previous year. Amid escalating tensions in the Middle East, hate speech has intensified across Europe, fueling social unrest. Human rights advocates are urging governments to take stronger action to protect vulnerable communities. Arab states and Turkey urge Hamas to disarm, transfer Gaza control. In a joint declaration, 17 countries, including Turkey, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt, along with the European Union and the Arab League, called on Hamas to lay down its arms and hand over governance of Gaza to the Palestinian Authority. The statement aims to pave the way for lasting peace and a two-state solution. It also condemned Hamas' October 7, 2023 attacks and proposed the deployment of an international security force in Gaza following the end of the conflict. Syria and Russia rebuild ties, Foreign Minister Shibani visits Moscow. Syrian Foreign Minister Asad Shibani held official talks in Moscow with President Vladimir Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, aiming to reset bilateral relations in the post-war period. The meetings emphasized respect for Syria's sovereignty and the need for a stability plan free from foreign interference. Both sides agreed to launch a broad dialogue focused on reconstruction and serving the interests of the Syrian people.